the real shit. That's crazy.
Yo. All right, peace to everybody here. The class has been going on for over 2 hours, though, okay? But when I have students here, though, I have to give them attention. And I want to give them attention. And I want to hate on all yous. But any questions that people have or any bills, throw them at me. In this last 45 minutes, though, there's a lot of things I could build on. You know what I'm saying? That's peace, Rome. You know, there's more I'll share with you as you go along and stuff. Remember, the student is the one that defines how the course will go to, you know, and that's what I mean. Like the way you develop your questions will be how you define the way the course goes. You know what I'm saying? It'll add on. You know what I'm saying? My experience, you know, I was telling you about my experience. The reason I teach this way is because where I came from, I felt like I had to go get it. It wasn't going to get brought to my neighborhood. I had to go get it. You know what I'm saying? And when you go get something, you know exactly what you're trying to learn. Like you figure out what you're trying to learn, you know? So I was like, yo, all right, if they say I'm not the God, then I'll go. But if they say I am, though, I got to find exactly why. You know what I mean? Why? You know what I'm saying? Why would I be a black man and shit like that? Why? You know what I mean? So all of that, you know what I mean? The first day I was here, Firstborn Prince said, "Peace, black man." And I didn't say anything. Because that was when he acknowledged me. The first time I saw him, he was bombing who became one of my Kung Fu brothers in Knowledge Peace. He bombed him about something. And he asked him a question. And he goes, "I already gave you the answer. You should have remembered that." And but not in those nice words, though. Like, fucking way worse. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? And I was there, like, I used to work at a book publishing firm, so I used to wear a suit and everything. You know what I mean? So I was there, like, all nervous as shit. You know what I'm saying? You know? And he would notice me. He'd always comment. He's like, who's this nigga with a suit on? Yeah. I was like, it's me? Yo, Firstborn Prince was a motherfucker, though. You know what I mean? But I wasn't taking his class, though. I was taking basically what was one of his students' classes, Knowledge Me, because they were the ones that was teaching. You know? It was mainly Colleen who was teaching, and he taught Saturday, you know? And then it was Knowledge Me teaching Monday. So I came on a Saturday when I first came to Allah School, May 1st, 1999. That was when I came. And the class was already over. You know what I'm saying? And it was crazy. Being the late 90s, like in the end of the 90s when I came, like 99, like that, it still had that vibrancy. Like people were quoting degrees outside. Like it was way different than you see now. No, but I didn't see people bomb each other. It might have been, but I don't know. The way it came up to me, that's why I got the nuts, because it just looks so utopian. It was just like all these brothers like all building and everything like that. And I was like, yo, this shit's crazy, man. Okay. And then P.E.A.C.E who's selling the newspapers, though, you know, and he had the throat thing. So he was like, yo, God, you come in Monday. And I was like, okay, I'll come Monday. You know what I mean? So wait, what was it? No, May 4th. So it was Saturday, Sunday, Monday. No, Tuesday. And then I came Tuesday. You know what I mean? But out the Day-Sun, the guy that you just met, Day-Sun, he was the one that brought me here. You know what I'm saying? Because we were writing. He was writing in other magazines, and then we all met up at writing in Brew College newspaper. So he was always this crazy. You know what I mean? He literally was that crazy all the time. You know what I mean? And he was writing at different, like he was writing at Beatdown. I don't know if you remember Beatdown, magazines like that. You know? And I was already writing at Vibe and shit like that. Or they were letting me write at Vibe. You know what I mean? But
mics on?
Nah, Vibe didn't do mics. Yeah. You know? Vibe didn't do mic stuff. You know? But I never made it into their magazine. They had a website, and they made a hardcore website called vibe.com/thesuicide. And I was an editor of that, but we never got in there to edit. You know what I'm saying? So I never really got to throw all my pieces up. You know what I mean? That's kind of like the way my career went in magazines. That kind of signified like the way it will go everywhere else. You know what I mean? But imagine you gave a song in, and somebody else would fix your song for you after you finish it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe take out some of the lyrics, you know what I mean? Like shit like that. That's how it is writing in a magazine.
That's crazy.
You know, and they own it. You sign a contract, they own it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So it's fucked up when somebody gets beat down for something they wrote in a magazine, because you never know if they wrote this shit. You never know. Yeah, you know, you never know. You know, like one time I wrote. You ever remember that group Mountain Brothers? There was an Asian group, right? The producer for them, he did stuff with other guys. Like Chops was the producer,
Okay.
right? And he
Chops
did.
from Chicago?
Oh, where are they from? Philly. They're from Philly.
Oh, Chops.
Maybe Ralphie Reese knows who they are. Mountain Brothers. They was out there. And I did their album, and I made it. I had a relationship with them, so I sent them what I wrote. What came out in the magazine, thankfully, was totally different. So I'm thankfully that I sent them what I wrote.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
You know, they weren't like gangster. It was not like I was waiting for them to fuck me up or anything. You know what I mean? But what if, right? What if? You know, then I have problems with like niggas I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Like that, right? But they were like in the review it said like they were kind of a wannabe Chocolate Quest, which if you hear them, they're not even. It's not even there. Like it's not even in. And I was like, this fucked up thing. Say I never compare good or bad anybody. Like I don't go that nigga's the next pun because everybody loves puns. Like no, you don't like pun. Then you don't like the guy because you're like oh you know.
Yeah.
You never do that. You know what I'm saying? Oh wow, he's like the next.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Nobody likes that, you know. And as a writer, I never want to be like, oh, he writes like Bones. Like, no, nigga, don't. I never, you know. I stop reading niggas if I love them because I don't want to. I don't want to write like
start
that.
sounding like them and shit.
Yeah, man, that's like you know, if you say I sound or I my shit reads like somebody else, I'm like, it's mortifying. I'd be mortified. But
like that with DJs and shit.
Yeah, like you know, oh yeah, that's like this guy does, right? Like
Right.
his routine. Like well, that's what I want to hear. You know what I mean? But like the what the fuck was I saying with them? Yeah, so when I got knowledge and shit, that next Tuesday I started building with the guy. Knowledge me, you know what I mean? And that's where I learned it. But Firstborn Prince was always here. Firstborn Prince used to live in the computer room. It wasn't the computer room, but this was like his home. You know? But that's why he was a little bitter too. You know? Nice, because you're living in a school, like you're living in where everybody's coming in and out and shit. You know? So people like criticizing you, telling you this, and you know, it just it was weird, you know, to say the least. And he had big dogs too and shit like that. You know what I mean?
No dogs?
Yeah. They were huge. Like, I don't know. I'm short, so they felt huge. Like they felt like little horses and shit. Like, I was like, "Yo, should I ride these outside the school and shit?" Like, fucking, I don't know. I hate the fucking giant things. But let me know if anybody has any questions while I'm here. You know, while I'm here, I'll be here until 8. Okay, and then I'm going back to Shaolin. I was saying on the
now you Hulu Starks.
Yeah. I'm Hulu Starks now. Yeah.
Hulu Starks.
Because the guys that have the most weirdness about it is Rizzo and you know the thing about Rizzo is that as an actor he's actually doing a very unique thing. If take away the voice, right? Look at him when he smiles or when he giggles and he goes. He does it like Rizzo. He's doing it like
really.
And I could see that voice as a characterization, but where it really and it's funny, so it makes it entertaining. But you know when he actually raps, he raps in his regular voice.
Yeah,
he should have rapped in the.
He can't really.
He needed to rap in the Hulu Rizzo voice, like with the. You know, when we do it like this, and then when we do the rap, we do it like this.
See, it's easier to mimic the voice talking, but to try to do it rapping, I think is.
He should have done it like that though, because his voice is high pitched when he's not. It sounded real funny though, you know. And then it's Hulu Starks because he's not a bad actor. He gets the emotions and things like that, but he has none of the style that Ghostface has. Like Ghostface is one of the most stylish human beings in the universe. That's like a fun fact. Yeah. Right? He does everything with style. He's like, hey, yo, like, you know what I mean? Like, remember, like, what was that thing MTV had when you had, like, the
Cribs?
They had something, they made a short book of it, like, The Way of Tony Starks or something, and he just would talk. That's how stylish he is. Like, The Wonderful World. Like, he just would say shit. Like, you gotta, the guy that plays him.
That might have been, like, Starks, though. I think early Ghostface was still finding But then again, no.
But that,
I was just
no,
watching
but look,
Can't Be So Simple
now,
video.
now
and
you say that, but that's because we didn't know Starks. But every time we know Starks, the style is crazy.
Nah,
Like
right.
Protect Your Neck is pretty like rah rah, right? But once you see Can It All Be So Simple, come on, like like the kid that does Rizzo, I like.
Ice Cream.
I mean, not the kid, not Rizzo. The kid that does Raekwon, I like.
Yes, something more.
Yeah, I like the way he's doing Raekwon. He does it very good. You know what I mean? He gets a lot of his style and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, homie, that's acting. That's
he got to add more like crazy words in his vocabulary. Though. Like just say words out of nothing. Like,
you know? Right.
You know?
There's a new episode out today, right?
Yeah. I had seen. I think it's episode 10 because I had seen episode 9, Cream, how they do Cream, and that's why I started thinking like, yo, I'm rolling through Shaolin and Polo Sport. I was like, yo, fucking Hulu Starks over here. Hulu Starks. Yo.
I seen 10 though. It was Peace. I think that's the end of the season though.
Wait, the show, right? After the show? There's one after the show. When they had that show, they was running at the end.
Yeah.
There's one after that.
Yeah.
Because episode 9 was about Cream. Now they made Cream and shit. Which is different, by the way. They take liberties. You know why? Most of Protect Your Neck is piecework from Rizzo. So he was piecing lyrics together. So not all those songs are made in a row like that. You know, so like Cream wasn't, The original Cream is more verses though.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
Rizzo's the truth.
But the way he pieced that shit together.
That was my first hip hop.
And to me, Cream,
36 Chambers.
That sample for Cream is like one of the. To me, Cream, the sample is like one of the greatest digs of all time.
Right.
It's one of the greatest crates ever. Yeah.
I'm like, damn, he flipped that.
Yeah.
That's wow. And I don't think anybody else sampled Shawn Bell's that joint.
No, people have used it. People
But
like Apollo Brown used it like as a homage and shit like that. You know, I think Dirty Diggs fucked with it too.
Oh yeah. I don't think he did.
Dirty Diggs.
Did he do it with the joint with Supreme and?
I think so.
I'm trying to think like before Rizzo did it.
Like I think he used like just a horn piece. Diggs used like the horn piece. Like they use that horn piece. Like they'll The way Diggs shit, I like when they use shit that people know already and then they do it different. Because they flip it different. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of people flip it and they're like, you didn't flip it enough. You know? Because it could lead to disappointment.
Right.
Or you get amazed and shit. You know what I mean?
I'm sure you flipped it this way. Okay. Respect.
I like that daring on a producer. Like when they dare to fuck with like a classic and flip the sample, like, I could, I love that exercise. It's a good exercise, you know what I mean? It's a good exercise. Because if you flip it though, like you got like, it's dope. Shit is hard to do, you know what I mean? Hard to fucking do.
Shit is no joke. That's what I was saying before, bro. Like I definitely try my hand at it, but that shit is like that gotta be your sole focus damn near at that point till you master it. And then you know what I'm saying? But
Alright. So I don't have your email though. Right?
I'll give it to you.
Yes.
I don't think so. I mean, probably not.
So later, just text me your email and then I'll email you stuff. That way I can email you the math and alphabet. You know what I mean? And just focus on the math. You know what I mean? And I'll send you a plus lesson about it and then certain books to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So I'll send you As a Man Thinketh. It's a very short book, but it's a heavy book. So that book you could read like a chapter a day. You could read a chapter a week and just think about that shit. You know what I mean? But when I also learned with Save Your Knowledge though, and he used to sell books out in front. And when I started to teach here, he was the one that really put me on this wing. It's hard to teach. And he'd be like, yo, dig this. You can find him on the Allah School of Mecca. He was like, dig this, God. You got to do it like this. Dig this. It's old school shit. He was like, every student, you give him this shit first. Give him this shit first. You know what I mean? And I was like, since I worked at a publishing firm, I was like, okay, I could do that. And I made, it was a short book, so I made copies of the book. And I just would like, yo, certain days I was just staying late and just use all that fucking paper. Like I was just, and I was just, and it was a transcription firm. So like they had the staples that could go through anything. you know. So I was like, make the book, bind it, 50 pages, boom. You know
What
what I mean?
book was that?
As a man thinking.
Oh,
Yeah, I used to bind them up and give them. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's what he was saying to get to your students first.
Yeah, you know.
That's
He was like,
nice.
give that, you know. Obviously, he was like, make him read this first. But I was like, you know what? I think I could give it to him first because if I just get the copies of shit, you know. So I always had a big briefcase with my suit and everything, just carrying that shit.
Mm.
You know? So I started. I had a suit on. I had the big briefcase. That I broke mad briefcases carrying shit because it's great. You know what I mean? And I had long hair. So we was doing kung fu, so I had to have like Shaolin, you know, layman long hair. I had long hair. You know what I mean? We all had long hair.
I even picture you.
Yeah.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You had the Shaolin.
So it's either gonna be long hair or you know, Gordon Liu, you know what I mean? It's gotta be kung fu. You know? Gotta be kung fu. Everything kung fu, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yo, when we was training, we did everything kung fu. Like for the whole 2000s, I didn't have jeans. I never wore jeans. I even had a pair of polo sport jeans. Never wore them. Never wore them on this shit. Because I was like, nah, I gotta do kung fu at any time, you know. So we was wearing like cargo pants, or we was wearing like, you know, like different type of shit, sweats, whatever it was, all the fucking time. You know what I'm saying? And then we was wearing gis, like the Chinese gis. That's all we wore. If Mott Street didn't sell it, we wasn't wearing it. Like all my clothes came from Mott Street. Like, yeah.
That's crazy.
And we would buy weapons. We was walking in Harlem with weapons and shit. Like we would carry spears and knives, you know, all that shit. All the weapons you see, like we was carrying those out in the street. And just walking with them. You know? Shit look crazy, guy. Like, you know, like in the where they walking sword. Yeah, we was walking with that shit. Because you can't put that in no book bag.
Right, you can't.
Right? Even the duffel bags, they wouldn't be big enough. Like, you know, shit was mad long and shit. And when we got excited, and then some of the guys, like, they would make their own weapons though and shit. So I was like, yo, I remember now this piece, he made like a fucking mace. You know, like the mace ball, the ball, like with like spikes, a spike. So he had like a bat, and he made like a chain link, and then he had the big spike ball. And I was like, nigga, what are you doing? He was like, yo, Bobby told us to make our own weapons if we thought of them. And I was like, yo, like, you're just gonna carry this giant, and this shit had weight. I was like, this shit was like this big, the ball. I was like, yeah. Yeah, she was crazy. I was like, yo, yeah, you know, making double-edged knives and shit. Like, I didn't get creative with weapons though. I just tried to collect them. I didn't try to make that shit, you know. But there was a lot of weapons though. Like I had chain whips, all that kind of shit. You know, chain whips, like a dagger at the end. Like I know how to, you know, I know how to do something with all that. I can't use all of them like the way, you know, the fucking monasteries use them. Because you whip yourself and beat your shit up with your own weapons. You know?
What type of kung fu do you do? Or
we learned Shaolin Kung Fu, but like the core was Wing Chun. You know?
Oh, you do Wing Chun?
Yeah, but we learned a lot of animal styles. We learned a lot of techniques. You know what I mean? So we learned a lot of shit. I know a lot of shit that I don't know the name for. You know what I mean? Because that's the way Bobby taught us. Our Seagun Bobby is Black Seed, right? And he actually got shot and survived. He got shot in the head, right? And he has a depression in his skull. And like for the kids, because he would do it for my babies and shit, he'd go, and then he'd pop out the thing, you know? And so he limps. So he limps because of that. But if you try to fight him, it's crazy. Like you can't do anything. Like, he just traps everything, and his whole body feels like steel, like straight steel. You know what I mean? Remember one time, I always say his infinite mind, he was practicing kicks, and he kicked, and Bobby blocked it. And he came back to sit down while he trained other people, and then infinite mind was like, yo, my leg soon yes. And that shit was black. Like his leg, he light skinned, he yellow seed, and his leg was black. He was like, that shit was a lump like that. Like, I don't know if it's broken, man.
Damn.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, what did you do? And I was like, I don't know what I did. I just put. He told me to kick him. I kicked at him. You know what I mean? He was like that. He's steel. But we learned all the shit that we learned from him. You know what I mean? All the shit that we learned. You know? But our generation that knows kung fu, like people my age that got knowledge here that know kung fu, we all learned it from the same person. We all learned from.
You ever went to China?
No, but who I was talking about, Infinite Mind, he did. You know.
Oh, Infinite.
Yeah. He learned out there. So he went out there to train there too. You know, which kind of validated. He was validated what we learned. It was like, yo, we learned the real shit. Like, don't think that. Like, so I was like, yes. You know, we didn't just learn like ghetto nigga just making up shit. Right. We do Gordon Liu one day. We do, you know, but a lot of the stuff you see in the movies, like he had us do, like we were doing real Shaolin drills and shit, like crazy shit. You know, so like large telephone poles that are like broken, you know, like those. He had me climb up there and do like kicks on them. You know, stay on one leg, kick, and if you get tired, go to the other leg, and then if you fall, you can't land on your legs. You know, you gotta land on your hands and shit. Yeah, a lot of crazy shit. Like it did a lot of crazy shit. You know.
I want to see that visually. Like,
it'd be a lot of funny videos though. You know what I mean? But that's why, like, when people see me do kung fu now, like that's a lot of
years.
Buster has a lot to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot of training. You know. Because I'm this you know, this height and weight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if I get into some shit, I gotta make sure I make it. You know what I mean? I gotta make sure I make it. Yo, you know, when I'm in the class and I'm building though, the chat never asks any questions. It's like they only want to build with me when they have me to myself, to themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all selfish and shit. And Dark Kim was telling me, I was talking to Dark Kim, he was saying, like, you know, I was telling him, like, yo, you got to tell the students, Dark Kim, if they live in New York City, they got to make their trips to you. And he's like, oh, so he going to tell y'all too, man. Just, you know, can't be just sitting. You know.
A lot of people that watch your joint watch Dark Kim's.
And they should. They should, man. Because when I was learning with Knowledge Me, I was rolling with everybody. I was really with everybody. I was with Duma. I was with everybody. Because all I did was stay at a law school. I'd be at the law school all day. We eat juice bar, we come back. We did, you know, like, that's all we did. That's all we did. We'd be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally lived here in 1999. Like, you know. And I'd be like, yo, I was at the school. You know? And then when I started my family and I had my own place, that was the main thing I would say to, you know, my first daughter's mother. I was like, yo, I was doing stuff. Like, yo, trust me. Like, I wasn't doing nothing wrong. Like, yo, when you see the shit and when she would see me do kung fu, it was always whack to her. It was always whack, you know? And all I would do is one day I'll be, one day. Like, I was literally like that. Like, I was like, you know, because I really was, you know, I didn't know. I would learn stuff, but then, you know, like what happens is you can't remember. So I would go home and try to recreate it, and then I would be doing it wrong. And then I'll have to go back and say, okay. But then he would teach me new stuff, and then I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't remember all this. So it would be that constant back and forth, because the only way you start to really get it is that you understand the meaning behind it. And then once I started to understand the meaning behind it, then I could finally incorporate it and make logic out of what he was doing, you know? But in the beginning, like, you're just trying to recreate. Like, I'm just trying to do what he said. And so you do it, and it looks mad awkward. You're doing shit all wrong. Mm-hmm. And he was very unorthodox, so he wasn't like, do this first, do that. You know what I mean? You would fuck up, and he goes, you got to do this first. I said, well, thank you. Now you tell me. You know, it was always like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I would do things wrong. Like, I'd do sweep kicks. You know, when you do a sweep kick on the floor, I would do it with this is the sweeping. Like, I would sweep with the knee on the floor, rotating. Like a knee spin. I'm thinking like b-boying.
Right.
I'd go back and my knees would be all bloody. And he'd be like, yo, you're doing it all wrong. You have to be on your foot, not your knee. And I was like, oh, shit. Yo, this is after, like, you could see, like, yo, it's destroyed. My knee is destroyed. And I was like, oh. It would be like that, you know what I mean? Or you spar and you think you're doing it right, but you're getting punched every time because you're doing it wrong. You know, and then you figure it out, you know? And then in the beginning, you got to do moves slow. So people that don't know, they're like, oh, look, you do all shit all slow. You look stupid. Like, but if you don't do it slow, you don't learn it right. You know what I mean? You don't learn it right, though. You got to live with the move. You got to let it change your body. You know? People may have never, they've thrown punches, but they may never throw a punch like this. So they have to learn how to feel comfortable in it. You know? Or do shit like this. That shit feels weird. Because it ain't supposed to be here. It's supposed to be all the way up. And with your elbow straight, like you don't see the elbow flare up. It take a long time to do that shit. So everything feels weird and you're doing all types of weird shit. You know? But that's what we did. Like I spent mad long just learning with everybody. It was just so much. There's just so much that I was learning. You know what I'm saying? And when Day said, yo, we should have a class here. In the beginning, I was considered too young to teach here. You know? But I was like, but some of the elders thought it was a writing class, like Umala, remember the imperfection, Umala. He used to always go, yeah, they teach writing class. And I was like, okay, yeah, sleep like that. But when you teach something specific here, everybody was coming in trying to get the knowledge. So what was I supposed to do? No, it's a writing class. So I started to mold what it would be. Like, we'll use those tools that I know, writing, reading, communication skills, but I'm going to teach you the knowledge, the way I see it, So then I started to develop my own curriculum and shit because I was like, I wanted to be like, not different because the elders are here, but special. So that way, like, if you learn with them, I wouldn't just be teaching the same shit and be whack, Because the father, they used to always say, the father had a self-styled wisdom. So I was like, yo, what's my self-styled wisdom? Like, what's the way not just the way I'm going to teach, but what am I going to teach? Like, how unique is it? You know what I mean? How special is it? You know what I mean? So I spent a long time doing that. You know what I'm saying? Long time. But all of that added on to it. You know what I'm saying? All of that added on to it.
Quick question, because I heard you say attitude.
Peace.
Was the father around when brothers was saying or being born to or adding in regards to those bills?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So if he didn't say anything about it, why are people saying, oh, the father didn't teach that? The father was around hearing people with us drawing.
To me, people are making shit up, man. And I feel like they're making shit up because it'd be easier if we didn't do that. But these principles,
it seemed harder, but it's like
borning the degrees is a perfect exercise to put principles together that belong together, and in infinite combinations.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it's a tool, like I was telling you before. And so I have to be careful. Like, the father taught people differently. So people from Medina, Brooklyn, they learn differently than people from Mecca. So like refinement is not in Medina's alphabet, in Medina's mathematics.
Oh, so
Right. But refinement was never in the original mathematics. It was something that was added on by certain people in Mecca because the father told them, y'all need refinement in the way you move it, in your power. It was a certain situation. Umala built on it all the time because he was there. He was the one of the gods that it was told to, that he was scolded with that. Right? And I know because I heard it, that was told to me from Umala. So when they built with power refinement, right? The father didn't say nothing. They left it in there, So I don't see refinement often gets confused with culture as a definition. And that's why Medina gods don't want it in there, or they see that it isn't the original. And they're right. It isn't. But refinement to me means focus. So if you use refinement in the power degree, right, then your power is always focused. You see what I'm saying? Just like the father could teach, but he didn't get in a soapbox and just blare it out. He focused it to individuals. You know what I mean? That's what that means. You know what I mean? So it's how you use that. You know what I mean? So I think that a lot of people use refinement in a sloppy way that doesn't really make it different than culture. I do think that.
Understanding of refinement.
I do think that. And I think generally also, I admit, and I truly see this, that in teaching all these years, most people have difficulty using refinement in a different way than the definition of culture. And that's why I don't really use it. You know what I'm saying? But if a lot of my students, I gave it to them like that, and they understand it, so I'm okay with that. I'm fine. And if anybody builds a refinement, I don't tell them it's not a degree. I build with them. I said, listen, that definition has to be different than culture. You know what I mean? Right. So when people say you have to refine your power, the Medina gods will say they revert back, and or anybody that doesn't have it like that, they go, power doesn't need refinement. Power is the truth. But to me, all the degrees are the truth. Knowledge is the truth because knowledge is the actual fact. So it's true, right? So it's kind of a generic build. So when I agree with them, I'm still agreeing for a different reason.
Even the build I sent you the other day, where I was like, even Allah has power to it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So like, it has a negative polarity, right? It has negative polarity, right? All the mathematics is negative polarity because you go that way, right? Mathematics builds from knowledge to born because all things that build are positively, elevated. If not, they're either stagnant and stuck at certain levels, or they're going negative. You know what I'm saying? But when I look at stuff like that, like certain cliches that people build with, they don't have much depth to me. Power is the truth. You know what I mean? Things like that.
That should be pissing me off.
It's not. It doesn't mean much to me. Like you can't really build on that. Like what does that mean? Power is the truth. Because it also says that your exertion of your culture is the truth. I find that pompous. It's not really what the truth is. You know what I'm saying? The truth is really the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And technically, it's something you could never really deliver alone. Everything I shared with you has knowledge filled with it, but I gave it to you with my understanding. You can never grasp knowledge. You can never really hold it. When you look back at ancient civilizations, you never see their knowledge. You see their wisdom. You see what they did.
Right.
And then you assume, there was a lot of knowledge in that. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge is always something pulled out. You know what I'm saying? It cannot be held. You know what I'm saying? So, when people have these builds, like, all the elders used to do that. Peace, God. All the elders I ever learned with, firstborns, everybody, they always God. I had the build here on the math with all the elders here all the time.
Right.
Every class would announce me had to stand up and build. How you see today's mathematics? See today's mathematics is wisdom built, all being born, knowledge add on a cipher, born knowledge. I had to build like that and say what I thought about that. Right. I ain't firstborn person telling me this shit wasn't. I didn't hear.
Father didn't teach you like that.
I didn't see Kaleem. I didn't see Duma. I didn't see anybody. Why is Jamel? Nobody that was with the father. Allah be nobody. You know. And like I said, that's where I'm informed by. You know. So the better question is like when you see elders that were with the father, like one of Allah B is still alive, right? He's still alive. When I haven't seen him since like I heard that crazy shit. When I see him, I'm gonna ask him. You know, I built with this with Day's son, and I was like, "Yo, where they get that from?" You know, but I never heard that. You know, and so the father didn't do that though. But everybody was teaching us to do an exercise that wasn't really what he did.
Well, right, and it went on for that long, and now, 2021, we saying, "Oh, we not adding anymore." Like that's crazy to me.
Yo, God, I'm telling you, I have built on a day's mathematics and bonded in every fucking borough. I've been somewhere in every borough. So, yo, peace, God. Yo, every borough.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I've been somewhere in every borough, in almost every neighborhood building.
That's a lot of brothers following suit, like online and shit, and in different regions. And I'm like, yo, like the adding peace. Like that's one of the elements that you know what I mean?
Peace, God.
That really, drew me to this culture too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like being anti-adding, like that shit is just
it's crazy.
You know what I mean? Like it's math. We should be adding. And it's like, oh, that's not changing the degrees or changing the culture. It's an add-on, right? And when I came in, it was like, what are you gonna add on to this?
If anybody that has refinement in their power degree, I say, listen, in your build, you work harder to show that it does not mean culturing, but what is the other definitions of refinement that relate to power? And that is everything that has power has a focus. You know what I'm saying? Right? You hit a baseball though, you have to focus it though. Right? You have to swing that shit perfect and launch it. You shoot, you have to focus. You know what I'm saying? The laser is just light, but it gets focused into what? A laser. You know what I'm saying? That's what refinement is. You know, the Father was refining this power because he was going out there and saying, listen, only they're gay. I'm gonna fuck with him. He's making decisions of who he taught, how he was gonna do it, and naming firstborn. When he did that, naming people to be his firstborn, that also set up like a looser hierarchy where people that actually got to build with him had to kind of earn that moment. Because like, oh wait, why you need me? You can learn it from him. You know? In other words, you had to come with him with like some shit like where you really built long and you come with him with some heavy shit. You know? And then that way he could pick and choose what jewel he would add on with people. Because everybody got something. If you was around, you got something. You know? Those are people making up shit. You know? And I feel like, yo, maybe you don't use this shit that much. Maybe you don't build with it too much. That's why you don't use the tool very much. But now we have these great teaching tools, though, and now you just take it away because, yo, this isn't sanctioned and shit like that. You're making shit up. Just making shit up. You know? I don't know, you get me started. I'm start throwing real darts and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they got names and shit like that. But I'm the nigga that's here, though. I'm just saying. I'm the nigga that's here. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Peace.
Niggas is bugging. You know what I mean? Niggas is bugging. Good looking, he current. Yeah, this is a sweater, though. I got the Wing Chun polo on them, but too cold to take it off. Yeah, man. You hear all types of shit, though. You know what I mean? And sometimes, you know what? People be getting online. I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna be a dart. If you making social media and you represent the nation, I already question that shit. Don't fucking represent the whole nation with this shit. You know? Don't represent the nation with this shit. Even when I do 5% media and we do that shit though, I'm not representing the 5% media is media that's representing the nation. But that's not my page. You know, that's like me, you know, my thoughts and my understanding. That's not me. It got pieces from me, but it's supposed to be from everybody, a forum for everybody to throw things. You know what I mean? Right. That's very dangerous too, because you act like you get that, and now you think you're the one that represents everything right and exact. And it's like, haha, no, it's a fucking joke. Because they wouldn't have the numbers. And whoever takes it as a dot, then you know who I'm talking about. We all know who I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's like that KRS song, right? You know? There's only one nigga that's live and direct here. There's two niggas here. There's only two live and direct. You know what I mean? That's me and Dark Kim. That's it. You know? Everybody playing. You know? And they wasn't with nobody. They wasn't walking with them. You know? People go, oh yeah, Prince. Yeah, Prince may have yelled at you once and shit. You know, was you with him? Was you sitting with him? You know what I mean? Were you with Ahmed? You know? They go like, oh yeah, I know Prince. They don't know anything about Ahmed. Then you don't know anything about Prince. That was like his art bar. You know what I mean?
Right.
Here's a joke. You know about a law school in Mecca all those years though, but you don't know shit about Wise Jamal. That means you weren't here. Because he was here all the time. You know what I'm saying? Man, that shit around me. Fucking DJs, man. DJs.
I'm just doing the divine justice, God. That's all. Oh man.
Yeah, man. Because you know, like certain gods will have like their own way of teaching, you know, and they'll say it was what they made up, you know, what they came up with, you know, and that's different. Like Wise Jamel used to have mathematical buildup. He born everything. Like he'll take a word knowledge, right, and go knowledge is the 11th letter, and it's the 14th letter. Like he'll add up each of those and then come up with one sum. But he would do that like with whole fucking sentences and shit like that, and come up with thoughts and ideas, and it'd be his mathematical buildup, and he would talk as fast as it would take to do all that. He was a beast with that, right? But I didn't agree with it because English is a very bastardized language. You don't know all the reasons why letters are put together that way. And more importantly, I didn't have a say in the way the letters were put together. You know what I'm saying? So if you go like this, if you're born P-O-L-O, and you say, oh, Polo born, whatever, right? You add up the numbers that go with it, and you put it to one. And he goes, yeah, Polo born, that's why it's right and exact for us to wear. Like, nigga, that's not... Ain't nobody thought that when they, you know, like, that's not a fucking build. You're just playing.
It's
like,
all mathematics, dog. It's just...
it's mathematics, dog. Just, you know, Ralph Lauren's name born's God. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I gotta wear, you know, come on now. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ralph Lauren made up the name. He made it up. And he did not make it up saying that the etymology got to be with the L, 12th letter, the A. You know, he didn't go, love Allah, universe, ruler, equality now. Like, he didn't go like that. Yeah, man, it's right and exact. You know what I'm saying? Right? Fucking love Allah. Like, we see Ralph, we just call him love Allah. Like,
like, hey, what's that? Well, I guess you
Ralph love Allah. It's just nuts right there, yeah. Nah, you know, but Wise, I never argued with Wise Jamel. You know what I'm saying? Because he was using it to make points and to make insights and to use it as a tool. So he made his own tool, you know, because the tool, the origins of the tool, I disagree with, but the usefulness of the tool and how he was using it, though, it became an effective tool,
right.
You know. So he had his own thing. That was like he was doing that Wednesdays, mathematical buildup. You know what I'm saying? He used to do that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
People act like they built Al Jamel when he came back, firstborn Al Jamel. He wanted it. When he came back to teach here, he was asking me to, I helped write the curriculum for him.
Okay.
These niggas be acting like they was with people. They didn't do shit with them. You know what I'm saying? What did they do in the nation? You know, like before I did something, I already made my own newspaper for the nation. I already wrote in the 5% paper. You know, even though Colleen's a pain in the ass for me. And I still got my writing credits in the newspaper. You know what I'm saying? So I had nothing to do with like this, like that. You know what I'm saying? Niggas they got no resume in this shit. They got no resume. You know, they old. Their fucking resume is old. They're old. I've had this name since. That's a fucking resume. So you look out for that. You know, where's their resume? You know. Every book you buy about this nation that's actually from the 5%, I edited this shit. Knowledge of Self. Star Mel's books. Allah Jihad's book. Those are the only ones. You know? Everyone else, though, they wrote their own book, though. Saladin wrote his own books. Writes his own books. You know? He was talking about him a while back, too. The God that returned to the essence. So he wrote good books, too. You know what I'm saying? But they were his pluses. But I'm talking about books that go to the masses. Because a lot of gods, they make books like for the nation. Like they publish them, but they were like, you know, like deep builds that like a regular person that don't even know about this shit, they're not going to get nothing out of this. They get nothing. You know what I mean? But all that though, you know what I'm saying? How many national statements of Dumas did you read? Like, did you sit down with them? You know? Shit's crazy. You know? Got to be official, right, God?
Yes.
Got to be official. Some niggas ain't official. You know what I'm saying?
What is calendar?
Yeah, man.
It's not color.
All right, we're at the 8 o'clock hour, so technically the class is over. Yo, email me, Sunez97. Dawood, thank you, Kari. I don't know why I forget that. He wrote incredible books. I only disagree with one book he wrote, but he has about he wrote about 7, 8 books, and they were all monsters, monsters. You know? Email me. And like I said, look, I want everybody to write and think about what they could write and share as a student that's online learning and their experience online learning for the 5% media, okay? All right. So with that said, I'm gonna say peace, okay? Peace to everybody out there. Contact me, all right?